What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to another video. And today we are going to talk about things that you need to expect before you visit or come to live in Mexico. Now, these are just a few things, but I think these are a list on top of the list of being very important. So I'm gonna give you a few of those in this video, and I will make it a multi-part series. So I'll drop a few for you today, and then we'll continue on with it. So these are things you need to know before moving or visiting Mexico. Let's go. Okay, so first let's talk about punctuality. Now, for many of you that have experience not only here in Mexico, but in Latin America, you know that people are very relaxed about time. It's the same as here in Mexico. If you make plans with someone, like how can I say, I don't know, just like a hangout with your friends, and you say, okay, I'll meet you there at 7. Really, people are getting there about 7:30. So just expect that. Now, business meetings is different, but yeah, overall, people have a very relaxed sense of time here. So if you're from another Western country like myself, from the United States, so we're used to punctuality. Even when we hang out with friends, I mean, all depends on you. I mean, some of our friends, we can go late. But anyway, it's very, how can I say, it's not a big deal here, right? But when it comes to business meetings or anything like that, yeah, that's taken very seriously, of course. But overall, I think that, just be aware of that, because you may be in a situation where you're used to getting things done in a certain time or expecting people to come at a certain time and they don't. And it's like, what? So now that you know that, if you didn't know it already, then it makes it easier for you to understand a little bit of the culture. And I lived in Brazil for 3 years. I've been around Latin America, Colombia, Panama, Costa Rica. People are relaxed, they're not in a rush. Even in the bigger cities, you'll find that it's not, Mexico City is a big rush. São Paulo, where I lived in Brazil, big rush, but still that kind of lax sense of time. It's a cultural thing, so yeah. But just expect that. And like I said, don't take it personal. It's perfectly normal. I've been on dates with some girls that will show up late, and I'm like, oh, that's right, I forget it's a part of the culture. So, and then sometimes some people will surprise you and arrive earlier than you arrive. So it's a mixed bag, but just be ready for that, because it is common. It's not a big deal. It's a part of Latin culture in general, and people are just not super strict about time in casual situations. So that's number one. Okay, so came to get some coffee at my local coffee shop. Got all fancy and got a Pellegrino. But the second part I want to talk to you about is knowledge of the Spanish language. This should go without saying when visiting most countries that don't speak the same language you do. Try to learn some of it. And I'm not trying to say that in a condescending way. And there are many places in Mexico where there's a lot of people who speak English. For example, if you're going to tourist cities like Playa del Carmen, Cancun, Tulum, Acapulco, and even other cities that are not touristic, like super touristic, you'll find people who speak good English, but Spanish is the language of Mexico. It was colonized by Spain for hundreds of years. People here speak Spanish. So make an attempt to, if you don't already speak Spanish, if you do speak Spanish, you're good to go. Now, I'm not saying you got to speak perfect Spanish. At least as long as you try, you have some survival Spanish, people appreciate that. You know what I mean? It's like, it's just you're showing an effort to learn part of their culture, and part of their culture is their language. So definitely, if anybody asks, if anybody ever wanted to know, if anybody even asks you now, do I need Spanish to go to Mexico? Yes. If you're going to an all-inclusive resort, no, because you're going to be around other foreigners anyway. But if you're planning on exploring Mexico, going to different cities, smaller cities, big cities, wherever, then yes, Spanish is definitely necessary. And you're going to find many people that are educated Mexicans that do speak English. You're going to meet younger, I would say high school, college-age kids that speak really good. I've met people of all ages that speak pretty good English, so you'll find it, but it's not the common thing. So remember, Spanish here in Mexico, and come with just some of the basics. And if you're planning on visiting here, it's going to help with your stay. And if you're planning on living here, it's going to help you with getting into it as you learn Spanish. So yeah, do that. Okay, so let's talk about bureaucracy. Yes, you heard it, bureaucracy. Everyone's favorite thing, right? Not really, but bureaucracy in Mexico is next level. And much of Latin America, and the experience that I've had living in Latin America in different countries, it's pretty much a thing. It's just what it is. That's how it operates. So if you're applying for something, if you're, for special paperwork, it's not difficult in itself to get certain things, but the process of things they make you do and their lax attitude towards certain things is like, can we just get this done? You know what I mean? But yes, things will be bureaucratic. So if you're applying, if you're trying to buy a house if you're trying to get residency, if you're trying to do anything that's very important on a high skill level, you need to get legal documents, whatever it may be, just expect some bureaucracy. Now you may get lucky and just sail on in, but yeah, everything's gonna be bureaucratic. Just deal with it. And for those who have been in Latin America, you know, it's just a thing, it's just how it is, you know, it's just the way things work. So yes, bureaucracy is definitely something that you should be used to, but just be patient, and you know, things are not difficult to get. Like for example, like getting your residency is not difficult. Certain things are not difficult, okay? So I just wanted you to know that things will be bureaucratic here, and mostly things like that involve like important documents and paperwork and things like that. Mostly bureaucratic. Everyday life here is just normal. So like you would find in any other city or any other country in the world. So yeah, bureaucracy, definitely expect it, and it's fine, it's Mexico. If you're here for the long term, then you know, you're gonna have everything settled, you know, everything situated, just a little bit bureaucratic. Now, I know as an American, speaking about bureaucracy is kind of ironic, but here, it's another level. So expect that, and I'm gonna hit you with the last thing next. Okay, so the last thing we're gonna touch on is how long you have to stay here as a tourist in Mexico. Now, for most countries that you're coming from, you will have up to 6 months per visit to stay in Mexico. So let's say you came here January, right? And you wanted to stay the whole 6 months. July rolls around, you leave Mexico, come back, and potentially get another 6 months stay. So there's no waiting period. There's no within the calendar year. You can go back as long as immigration gives you 6 months. I mean, all depending on how long you want to stay in Mexico. So yeah, most of you all, the first time or second time coming to Mexico, they'll just give you the 6 months. Even, like I said, even if you're telling them you're here for less than that, you know, if you get, you know, the ones that are really not, you know, too pressed about that. So, and yeah, now one thing I gotta say is that doing the tourist visa is cool, but be wary that some places are giving less, and if they see a pattern in your passport that you're going back and forth to Mexico all the time, then they're gonna think that you're trying to game the system. So yeah, you don't wanna do that, because you may not get the 6 months. You may get whatever they feel like giving you. They may give you 15 days, you know, and so it can be like that. And also, another thing to make that easier, if you plan on staying in Mexico for a long time, consider residency. There are different types of residencies that you can get. I got mine earlier this year, and I'm gonna make a whole video about that, so stay tuned for that, coming very soon, about what I did to get my residency and what you can do and what options you have to get residency as well. So I think that if you're gonna be here for a while, you plan on living here, or just extended period, just, you know, staying here for a while, I mean, it's worth it. You can enter the country and, you know, as much as you please, you know, enter and exit. So it's multiple entry visa, I'm sorry, not visa, multiple entry residency. So, but don't worry, I'm gonna break all that down in the next video about residency. But yeah, that's basically a few things that I wanted to introduce. And remember, this is part 1, so you can expect the next part of more things of what to expect in Mexico. Okay, so that concludes the video. I want to say thank you for watching. I hope you found that useful. And like I said, that's just a few tips, a few different things to expect in Mexico. There are more videos coming soon, so make sure you stay tuned for that. And yes, thank you again for hitting that like button and subscribing. And the next video will be about how I got my Mexican residency, so stay tuned for that. And I'm gonna break it all down for you all right? Once again, thanks for dropping by my channel, and you can expect all things Mexico covered in this channel, as well as Latin America. So I'm talking about food, I'm talking about dating, I'm talking about money, I'm talking about what to do, what to look out for, anything you could think of, travel related, moving abroad like an expat, I'm gonna cover here. So you all stay safe out there, and I'll catch you on the next video. Peace.